I'll keep it simple. This is customer success, not ancient aliens.
You're listening to the Daily Stand-Up by Lifetime Value. Consider this your daily dose of new ideas, fresh perspectives, and or hot takes as they relate to the worlds of customer success, post-sales, or whatever the hell we're calling it these days, and where we ask each guest one simple question. What's on your mind?
Again. Okay, you ready? Everybody ready?
Yeah.
I don't have a script. I usually have a script, so we'll see how I do. Everybody's just quietly, you guys can talk, right? Like, we're going to edit everything here.
Yeah, I don't trust that.
All right. Well, what's up, lifers? Welcome to the Daily Stand-Up. This is a brand new project from Lifetime Value where we want to plant as many idea seeds into the ground as possible. We want a couple of those to grow into big, beautiful trees. Maybe we'll rip a few out on the way. But we're here to change the way you think about customer success. And so I have with me JP Frost. JP, do you want to say hi?
What's up, people?
We've got Rob Zambito. Rob, do you want to say hi?
Hello. Happy to be here.
Very cool. And everybody knows me. My name is Dylan Young. And we also have the wonderful Ornella Jacobs with us. Ornella, can you say hi?
Hi, everyone.
Ornella, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. So my name is Ornella Jacobs. I live in the UK, based in Cambridgeshire. I work in customer success. I'm a senior CSM for a company in the wellness and beauty industry. And I also love social media. And I'm a mom, a proud mom of 2.
Very cool. Very cool. So, Ornella, we teed you up on what it is we're trying to do with this podcast. The question we have for you is, as it relates to customer success, what is on your mind?
So what's on my mind? So I think we need to simplify customer success. A lot of jargons in there, a lots of complicated words and that we don't understand and wanting to make everything sound so complicated. And I think we need to get back to the basis of what customer success is, get straight to the point about what it is that we're trying to do. Not only so we can scale better, but also so we can get more creative once we all finally understand what it is that we're doing. We need to simplify how what we need as a great CSM, what we need to do, how we do it, and get to the point, not just have strategic talk. Like, what is it to have a strategic talk?
What does that mean?
What does that mean? Yeah. So we need to teach people how to speak with people, how to understand people, what questions to ask, and also simplify the kind of data we're looking at, what kind of customers we're working with and why. So simplifying by asking simple questions. I think corporations and companies need to ask themselves very simple questions. They need to simplify their processes so they can scale better. And then once you simplify things, you can get innovative, but in a specific area. And instead of getting creative, meaning reinventing something new all the time. This is what I see often when I speak to CSMs in general. I find that we get creative and we do new things because, oh my gosh, I've heard someone said this works or this new tool will help the company, and then we jump on it. We want to do something completely different. And then it seems like the role has changed completely again for the team. Mm-hmm. So that's what's on my mind. I would say, in general, when it comes to customer success, we need to simplify it.
So before I let the gentleman jump in here, because I don't have any real comment of material, except it's funny because I've been on this tear for probably the last year of I don't want to talk about tactics because I always think that tactics are so specific to the organization. And I always talk at a high level that I like that level, but it can be alienating to especially folks that are just getting into the CS game. And so I just kind of want to say that. I don't necessarily have anything to build upon what you said, Ornella, but Rob, JP, do you guys have any comments?
Yeah, I certainly do. I mean, Ornella, I love what you just shared. I think it hits on a core value that we're trying to embody with this micro podcast, and also just one that really stands out to me in general, which is I think we're running a real risk as a customer success industry of being a little too exclusive by making our work sound kind of fancier than it really is. And I think we run that risk. I was joking at a conference last week that like there's just acronyms on acronyms on acronyms. And I even had this conversation with Dylan recently too. And what we're doing is we're making our field inaccessible to people who may not have access to working in tech or working in SaaS or working in customer success roles before. So, there's a lot of really good organizations out there. Like I talked to one called Kind Work, for example. Shout out to them, what they're doing. They help people from traditional retail backgrounds and hospitality backgrounds, which I know JP and I, for example, have that background, help them get into customer success. Because really at the end of the day, the principles of what makes a good person in retail or hospitality are actually kind of the same as the ones that make a good person in customer success. So I really appreciate your sharing that. And
Ornella, I think you relate to that as well, right? I think you've done quite a few posts or content about your experience in hospitality and how that influences your CSM work. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. And I think in one of my social media posts, I spoke about a mojito. I think it was a mojito, and I was talking about like what makes a good mojito and what's the perfect recipe. And basically, bottom line, that the perfect, like how many limes do you put in there? Well, it depends. It depends how fresh that lime is, how juicy that lime is. And I feel like, we need to be flexible enough to, and back to the point as well of customer success, to know that there are definitely limes in mojito. But we need to also understand that based on where we source them and, based on the strengths that you're going to use to muddle those limes, this is where you can get flexible. This is where you can, say that, okay, well, I'll make my mojito in 5 minutes and the other one says I'll make it in 2 minutes. Okay, that's fine. We can play with that. But bottom line is we need limes. We need limes. Otherwise, you can't make the recipe. And I think as well that back to what Rob was talking about as well, saying that we're making it complicated for ourselves and etc. and to the industry and people trying to enter. We're also making it complicated for our customers to understand what we do. I mean, how many times, like, if you're sending these fancy emails and you're talking about goals and value and this and that, and you jump on the phone call with this customer, and how many times have a customer not asked you, okay, how different are you from my sales rep or my account manager? And you're there explaining, and then they're asking you the question again. Straight away, that's red flag. That means that however we are pitching ourselves, we are just confusing the customers. And that's what I mean. Like, if we start focusing on trying making this simple, like what it is that we do, and yes, it can vary from organizations to organizations, but I also believe that the same way we all know and understand what a sales rep does, we need to be able to understand what a CSM does. What are we responsible for? Because everyone is selling in a company, but who actually processes that sale and what does that entail that makes the sales rep the sales rep? We need to do something similar for the CSM. What it is that we do that the other teams don't do? What are we responsible for that the other departments and other roles are not responsible for? And I feel like once we start asking ourselves those simple questions, as an organization, we will be able to simplify what it is that we do, making it easy for internal teams to understand what we do and our customers. That's the most important. If they don't understand what you do, they're not going to want to work with you. And then you're there just doing these chasing games of like why most CSMs are struggling with engagement all the time when we're not even trying to sell. Like, it's not our main responsibilities, although we have to sometimes, It's a problem. It's a problem.
JP, I want you to have a chance to jump in here and tell us what this looks like for you, particularly as you're starting a new role. How are they talking about this same experience?
I'll keep it simple. This is customer success, not ancient aliens. Okay? You don't have to do all that stuff. I was on a call today, and it was one of my first actual Zoom on, camera on calls. And key skill was listening, identifying some of these opportunities, right? If I'm a CSM, like the sales rep was also on the call. So we have the luxury of already sort of knowing, okay, this is my CSM, this is, my sales rep, this is who the account's being transferred from, right? So we have a clear distinction. But, I was able to, even as someone new with not much command of the product yet, but understanding what our directives are, that we want to know who is using our software, I was able to pick up on, something that the customer said, and I was able to, at the end of the call, just sort of say, hey, you mentioned these people were, also using, sounds like a version of our service. Are they licensed users or not? And that was the perfect thing to just open up the conversation a bit more, because I know that it's as simple as when you get time with that customer, you got to maximize that time you get. So even though sometimes it can feel a little bit like, you want to respect someone's time and sort of like get off the call and be curt. It's like, if you can get the most out of that call, this would be getting the most out of that lime, because you got a salty customer. Get the most out of that lime so you can stir that thing up and get the best tasting mojito. Simple as that, baby.
JP, so that was your version of concise. We're gonna have to work on that. I love it though. I love it though. So that's our time, folks. Ornella, I want to thank you so much. If you didn't know, you are the very first guest for this new project, and I think you did perfect. So thank you so much. I'm so glad we finally got to connect. I love seeing what you do on social media, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
You've been listening to The Daily Stand-Up by Lifetime Value. Please note that the views expressed in these conversations are attributed only to those individuals on this recording and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of their respective employers. For all inquiries, please reach out via email to dylan@lifetimevaluemedia.com. Find us on YouTube at Lifetime Value, and find us on the socials at Lifetime Value Podcast. Until next time.
Hey folks, it's Dylan here. Thank you for tuning in as always. Now I've got a favor to ask of you. If you've made it this far, hopefully it means you like what we're doing with our program. So I'm asking you to please give this a like and a follow or a subscribe, and leave a comment too. Your likes and your follows and your subscriptions, they allow us to keep doing what we're doing and reach a larger audience. Your comments help us make sure that we're making the best content for you. Best of all, it's free besides a few moments of your time. Thank you again for following along, and we'll see you next time.